was talking about your guys' identity, and uh, obviously you guys have been playing well defensively, but you guys have also been winning a lot of these close, grinded out games. How much do you see that in this team, and how beneficial is it in a season where there's probably going to be a lot of grinded out wins with standing so bunched together and games condensed and all that stuff?
I think it's very important to win those games. Early on in the season, we wouldn't have won that game. And we've discussed, in order to be a playoff team, in order to contend, to be a great team in this league, you're going to have nights like that where the ball isn't going in, on a back-to-back, tired, and you have to mentally lock in. And I think, that was very key for us tonight. We started off the game pretty good, and they were kind of controlling the game in that second and, beginning of that third quarter. We were able to get the tempo back in our favor. But, there's going to be a bunch of games like this where, like you said, the standings are close. Everybody's jockeying for playoff position, and the games are going to be close. And you got to, the great teams win those close games. And that's obviously where we're striving to be.
Draymond, go ahead, Anthony.
What kind of defensive season is Steph Curry having?
Fantastic. Because due to his defense and, the way he's playing and fighting on that side of the ball, there's no holes in our defense. And, it's been fantastic to watch. Obviously, me being here for 9 years now, to watch his growth on that side of the ball, it's been spectacular. And, I've been extremely excited to see that and, be the back line of defense with a guy competing the way he's competing on that end. And, that's a part of the reason, we're top 5 defensive team.
How specifically have you seen him grow defensively over the years?
I think he don't reach as much. I think he would always kind of get to the position he'd reach, or he'd launch forward and kind of take himself out of the position. But he's not doing that anymore. I think a part of it is he's so much stronger than he's ever been. And due to that, he's able to put up the fight with anybody. Guys who used to being able to back him down or take him off the dribble and bump him off, they can't anymore because he's so strong and core strength. He's put on some muscle. So I think that's played a huge part in the defense that he's playing this season.
You guys scored 95 points the first time you played this a few weeks ago. It wasn't pretty, but at least you guys got 111 points tonight. What do you think the biggest difference was offensively between the first time you played the Pacers and this time?
They're always changing defenses. Obviously Nate was on that Toronto staff that beat us in the finals and, just kept throwing different looks. I think we were more prepared this time around to handle their switching defenses and just attack. I think we were really driving and kicking the ball, which is important. Driving, making a second drive. They got Miles Turner at the rim, who's one of the best shot blockers in our league. And so they kind of just funnel you to him. And so we're driving to him and we're kicking out, making a second drive. And when you make the defense shift from side to side, it's not so easy for that shot blocker to just stand in there and affect shots.
Draymond, what would you say has impressed you the most about Kelly Oubre?
I think what's impressed me the most, number one, just the fight in him. I've enjoyed playing with him. He brings a certain passion and intensity and toughness to the floor. And it's always fun playing with a guy who plays that style of basketball. I think another thing that shocked me is how athletic he is. He's one of the quickest jumpers I've ever seen. If you drop him drop him a ball off, it's 9 times out of 10 he's finished because he just bounced off the floor so much faster than everyone else. And I think most importantly is the resiliency. For a guy to start off, I don't know, whatever he started off the season shooting from 3 and not playing well and all the talk and the noise and, to just stick with it and turn that corner and figure it out. He's been very, very important for us over this last month or so. And, it's been very beneficial for us, and it's starting to show up in the wins now. So I think that's what stands out to me more than anything. When you living in a day and age of a lot of kids pointing the finger at the next guy, thinking they're better than what they really are. A lot of young guys do that. He didn't point the finger at anyone. So the resiliency that he's shown has impressed me more than anything.
Was there a part of you that were waiting to see how he responded to it? Where, since you guys were inviting him in, like.
For sure. I mean, you always want to, you got to know what you got. You never truly know what you got in the guy until they go through something. And he kind of started off that way, and to come out of it, you got a dog. And, for me, anytime I can stand next to a dog and play with someone with the force that he plays with the mindset that he has, I'm always appreciative of that.
Going back to the defense, what's the biggest difference in your guys' defense identity this year that maybe differs from the past, with just not having that same offensive firepower that you guys had when Clay was on the court and you guys had KD?
I think number one is familiarity. I could kind of roam all over the place, and those guys would know where to cover for me at. Starting off this season that way, those guys on our team now wouldn't know how to cover for me, and they're starting to figure that out now. And so I would say that was one thing. And then also, I think where this team kind of parallels to that team is the length that this team has. I think this team has great length. But what that last team had that this one doesn't is the experience together. And not only experience together, experience period. You go from Andre Iguodala, who's an amazing defender and a super vet. Sean Livingston, who's a good defender, super vet. Kevin Durant, who is an amazing defender and a vet. Klay Thompson, who's an amazing defender and a vet. Now you go to Kelly Oubre, who's an amazing defender, young. Andrew Wiggins, amazing defender, young. James Wiseman, growing in that area, young. And so I think that's what the biggest difference was or is that, it was just way more experience. Now, after 28, 29 games, where we're at, you're starting to see those guys get the experience under their belts and growing on that side of the ball. So it's been good for us.
What have you seen Wiseman's first 2 games back, and what kind of, do you expect maybe a mini leap now that he kind of had the break?
I think, as you always say, once you get to a certain part of the season, you're no longer a rookie. And you usually say that after All-Star break. We're a year for him. I'm not sure if you can kind of throw that on him right after the All-Star break, but shortly thereafter, you won't be viewed as a rookie anymore. You've had games under your belt, and it's time to continue to grow. And saying that, I think he's grown a lot. Coming back these 2 games, the pressure that he's putting on the rim, the threat he is when guys are driving in as a lob threat. You obviously saw him step out and knock down a 3 tonight, which we know he's more than capable of. So overall, I think he's been really good coming back these last 2 games, and he'll continue to get better as he's done since the day he stepped foot in this organization.
Dre, what do you enjoy more? Go ahead, Monty. Go ahead.
Steve always says that they don't need you to score, but in that fourth quarter, especially over the game, but in that fourth quarter, when you saw how they were trying to treat Steph, you kind of took advantage of that and found your way to the basket. Do you imagine that's going to happen more frequently as teams try to load up on Steph?
For sure. Teams are going to continue to send 2 guys at Steph. It's been that way for years. And, it's just all a mentality for me. So just keeping that mentality of attacking. I wanted to start this game that way tonight and continue to have it the whole way. And, it was big for us down the stretch.
Dre, what do you enjoy more? A dunk like the one you had in the fourth quarter, or a play where you help Pascal get Sabonis to travel?
Me personally, I'll always pick a defensive stop because to me, especially at that point in the game, obviously EP did all the work. He stood the guy up. He met force with force. And I just came on a random trap because I saw my man cutting away. But for me, I always feel better about getting a stop because not only are you getting a stop and getting your team the ball back, but to me, you just won that battle against that guy. And, I think basketball is all about taking the next guy hard. I'm not saying we took Sabonis hard. He had a great game. But in theory, that's what basketball is all about to me. And so when you get a stop, you're just chipping away at taking that guy hard away. And for me, that's always fun.
And when you were guarding Turner on the rebound you had after that, you were guarding him on the corner, the shot comes out, and then you show against Sabonis, and then you went back to Turner. What made you show and then go back to your guy? I mean, why didn't you stay with Sabonis? He was close to the basket, though.
I think the score was 97-94, and the same exact play happened. And I ran and boxed out Sabonis, and Miles Turner came and got the rebound, and I fouled him. And so that play stuck in my head.
Wow.
And so once I saw Sabonis coming down the lane, I wanted to get a crack on him. And I knew I had enough time because Miles was starting in the corner. And so I knew I'd have enough time to get a hit on him, but then I had to get back. And, you know, I was able to get back. The ball took a good bounce for me and bounced my way. I was able to come up with the rebound. But it was all because I had fucked up the play before, and I needed to make it right.
Draymond, the improvements defensively have been well documented. But when you came into this year, did you think there was a way in the world that you guys could win a game when y'all shot 5 for 26 from beyond the arc and Steph was 1 for 11?
Well, what I will say is coming into this year, I knew this team had the potential to be a great defensive team. And so in saying that, any team that has the potential to be a great defensive team, you'll always give yourself a chance if you are. And I think that showed tonight. Now, as great as all of that sounds, hell no. You know, you got Steph, who didn't shoot well tonight. None of us shot well tonight. And to still come in this building against a very good Indiana Pacers team and come out with a win on a back-to-back, you know, after the way the road trip started, all of these things, and to come in this building and get a win, especially with shooting like that, I can't sit here and lie to you and say I thought that's who we would be. Like I said, I thought we had the potential to become a great defensive team, but all potential means is you haven't proved it yet. And so I knew we had a lot of growth ahead of us, and we still have a lot of room for growth. But this is a step in the right direction. This is a real gutsy win for us. You know, and like I said earlier, the great teams find a way to win these types of games.
Draymond, the camera caught you giving a young Pacers fans your kicks. Was there anything significant on why you did that, or were you just showing love?
I was just showing the kid some love. He had asked for my shoes. He had actually asked Ralph, our security guy, to ask him to get the shoes. Ralph said it to me, of course. I mean, we're headed home. You know, the kids want shoes. He can have the shoes. I got no problem with that. But just showing a little love, that's all.
Going back to what Nick asked, what made you think that you guys had such great potential for defense when you first saw this group come together?
Well, we've played against Kelly Oubre and understand the type of defender that he is and the type of intensity that he brings on that side of the floor. And most importantly, and I think I have pretty long arms. I think Kelly got me by like 2 inches. And so the length that he has, you know, the 10 games that Andrew played last year, however many it was, you immediately saw his potential on the defensive end and how good he could be on that end. I like to think I'm a pretty good defender. And you add me next to those two guys. Looney is a great defender. Wise has great length and will be a great defender. He's not quite a great defender yet because he just don't understand enough, but he will be a great defender. And then you add in a much stronger, much better defending Steph Curry. I also think another thing that's been interesting about Steph's defense is he will fall asleep a lot off the ball. And he's not falling asleep anymore. He will fall asleep, give up a backdoor layup almost once a game, sometimes twice a game. He just stand there and be like, ah. And now he's not giving up that stuff off the ball. He's locked in off the ball. He's engaged. He's chipping down on a big. He's getting back to the elbows and rebound. He's coming in and getting big boy rebounds. And so when you look up the makeup of all of that, Bay's coming off the bench. EP, who I think can guard just about anybody in the league when he's locked in. Juan Toscano-Anderson, a great defender. When you look at the makeup of this team, if we can put it all together, which I think we are starting to do, that should be a good defensive team. And so that's just why I thought we could be a great defensive team, and we're starting to show that.
What's a big boy
All right,
rebound?
last question. Go ahead, Kareth.
What's a big boy rebound?
Going in there amongst the trees, contested rebound is not just falling in your hand, you're going up top and getting it. And, we've seen him do that several times this year on both ends, offensive side of the ball and defensive side. And when your point guard is rebounding like that, everybody else better fall in line or you going to the bench. That's just kind of what it is, including myself. When you got your guy, point guard, face of the organization, our guy, rebound like that, everybody else got to fall in line. I think we're becoming a better rebounding team as well.